creating a culture of love.
Welcome to Live Through Love, and in this episode, I've got special guest Ruben Rojas. Thank you for having me. Thank you for being here today. This is more of a recap. You know, a lot of people often wonder, they see the glitz, the glamour, the glory, the projects completed, what's been posted on social media, or what's happening. And we don't get into the dirt, the grime, the behind the scenes. And I just want to recap a little bit about this first quarter and what's been happening, what's been testing, what has been challenging me to make sure that I am living through love and choosing love and sticking on the path. Because it's not all rainbows, you know? When it rains, we look for rainbows. And when it's dark, we look for stars. And that takes practice and that takes effort to look for the stars, to look for the rainbows, to choose love, and to live through love. So the year started off, you know, some people may know, we shared it a lot on social media, but we always go on a trip for New Year's. My wife and I, now with Remy, obviously. And this year we found ourselves in Mazatlan. We were at a resort. We wanted to take inventory of the last year, hang out, celebrate a little bit as a family, and just relax so that we could go into the year recharged, re-energized, and just ready to get after it. But as we find out the day that we're heading to the airport, there was a little bit of a siege, and El Chapo's son was being arrested, and the government and the cartel just started an all-out war. They shot at some airplanes, the city went under siege, the roads closed, and we didn't make it out. We had to stay for a few extra days. But the real kicker here is, if my flight was a little bit earlier, we would have been in the thick of it. And, you know, I spiraled out. I thought about, what would that have been like if I was there getting shot at with my little boy and my wife? Like, what is that experience? What is that feeling? You know, some of us have it easier than others. And some of us have these challenges where that is their normal. But the next couple of days were a little hairy, you know? It was... oh, woe was me. I got stuck in paradise for a few more days. You know, when you're done, you're done. You want to go home, you want to go home. And guess what? Work was on the other end. I had to come back and get ready for you guys and do more podcasts. And I had project deadlines and sculptures and paintings and murals, right? We had life waiting for us. Putting Remy back in school, Z starting a new job. And, you know, all these things start piling on at you. And you want to freak out. You want to get mad and you want to get upset. And you get to choose love. I get to choose love. And I got to remind myself that this is just another test to walk the walk, to put in the practice, to put in the reps. So as we're figuring out how we're going to get home, worst case scenario, we were stuck there another week. You know, shout out to the hotel. They did give us a couple extra days. They covered that for us. But we ended up staying 3 extra days. We looked at rerouting to Puerto Vallarta, figuring out how to get to Cabo or Guadalajara. So 3 days later, we ended up on a flight in Guadalajara. But the scenario leading up to that, like, how are we going to get there? The roads are closed. Literally melting semi-trucks everywhere. It's a battle zone. And they're saying, don't worry, and other people are freaking out. And my wife starts looking up everything, the beheadings and the kidnappings and the drug war. Like, it felt like we were in an episode of Narcos, if you've watched that show. As we exit, though, that day, 4 a.m., we get into a cab, and an older gentleman picks us up in a van, drives us around the corner, parks at a convenience store. He's like, okay, well, this is where we're switching cars. So that already kind of was a little hairy. My wife starts, you know, freaking out a little bit. And I'm like, oh no, if all these things that she says are actually going to become a reality, I don't know what's going to happen here. You know, she's also like, you're going to sit behind the driver. Don't let them know you speak Spanish, you know, just in case, right? If they're talking Spanish and you act like you don't speak Spanish, you'll understand what they're saying. Or if you need to choke them out. You know, we say that now in humor because we're here. But we swapped cars, drove all the way to Guadalajara. It was almost a 5-hour drive. And on our way out, we saw the destruction. We saw the burnt trucks. We saw the flipped cars. We saw the clearing of the roads with all the debris, things you think you would never see. And you see it. This is stuff that's happening around the world. So it just reminds me of just really being grateful for where I am, who I am, what I do, where I was born, the family I have, living in LA, and all of these things. And I say this not to make you fearful of traveling, because you get to travel, you get to see the world. It's a beautiful thing. And I'll be back in Mexico. Not Mazatlan, I'm staying out of Sinaloa. But it was just another opportunity. And if I were to have panicked and stepped into fear, it would have been another world. I had to keep calm. I had to keep my composure, right? Two anxious people, two fearful people, and we have our young son. That wouldn't have been the jam. That wouldn't have been the thing that got us home safely or calm just to get to the other side of the thing. So that was just a lesson in things that happen, that we can spiral out and freak out. And luckily all went well and we made it home. You know, now that I'm home and now that I'm able to take a little inventory, unpack this a little bit, and realizing like we were freaked out. I was freaked out, and I was able to stay calm by having the conversations I have on these shows, you know, being able to take in the knowledge and the education to choose love and to really dig into it. And why I keep saying this, or why this is, it's not the rainbows and the unicorns. It's something that you choose to try to allow your emotions to be in you and not control you, not devour you, not have this fear freak you out. But as I keep on telling the story and unpacking it, I was just like, wow, like, thank you. Thank you for staying calm. Thank you for letting me get home. God, the universe, whoever, for my family to get home. And really thinking about it, like, it could have been worse. And I'm not a what if guy and shoulda, coulda, woulda. But after the fact, you're allowed to go through some scenarios like, what if this did happen? And that really made me think even more about the purpose of what I'm doing. It's that much more important. It's that much more important because I may not be here tomorrow. I could have not made it home. And again, it's not a morbid thought. You know, I've said in the past that we're going to die, and that's the truth, and we don't know when. So let's keep showing up in life. Let's keep taking the chances, going and taking the swings, doing what you love. If you hate it, figure out what you hate about it and do something about it. Doesn't mean you have to do something about it tomorrow, but like take a step toward whatever it is that's going to make you happy. Move forward. So unpacking that just made me realize that I'm on the path. I get to keep doing this. I have to keep doing this. And I'm going to keep showing up for myself, for my family, and for you. So, you know, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And thank you for being a part of this journey. Because it's important to realize, like, life is short. So I'm back. We're here. Our day by day. Z's going to work. Remy's at daycare. And my truck starts having problems. And the transmission melts. It craps out. There's a burning feeling, and then it doesn't shift. And then I'm carless. So we're a family sharing one car. It's great, right? Just first world problems that my car breaks down. But what's hard about this is what that cascaded into. So for about 2 months, I'm trying to figure out, my builder lives in Tennessee, so I can't exactly drive it over to him or ship it easily to Tennessee for him to fix it. So we're trying to figure out, where are we going to get this thing fixed? Can't just take a classic truck to anybody, especially a modified performance truck with an LS conversion. Like, people have to know what they're doing. Transmissions melted, and we're like, dude, there's 3,600 miles on this thing. We just put in a brand new motor and everything. Why is this happening? This shouldn't be happening. I don't need to spend this money right now. We've got plenty of other bills and issues and situations going on. But that led to a couple other things. So for the next 6 weeks, trying to figure out, this sharing one car thing gets a little cumbersome. I did a lot of walking. I'm on my scooter. Luckily, I got a little electric scooter. It took a couple months to find the transmission guy. I had a couple friends calling. A couple other people gave me some other options. I had someone lined up, and then they kind of ghosted. The other person's like, I have no idea when I could get you in. The other person was pretty far away, so it's like, we don't really have a local opportunity here. But we finally found someone in Chatsworth. Excellent. Truck's running amazing now. But we found out some other things that happened here. But leading to this is the other kicker, right? So the day I'm committed to taking the transmission, the day I'm committed to having the truck taken to the transmission shop, it's raining. Tow truck driver comes down, picks up the truck. It's on an alley, nice steep angle. Truck's going up. Truck starts shimmying. Winch snaps. Like, how does that happen? The cable just snaps. My truck seemed like slow motion, but it wasn't slow motion. Starts rolling off the back of this truck. And faster and faster. I'm really close to getting run over. I'm freaking out. I kind of try to grab it to do something, but obviously that was dangerous, bad move. And then it slams into an electric pole. So the whole passenger side just smashes in. So I'm sitting here like, wow, I was going to have my truck back in 3 days. Now the transmission needs to get fixed, and then the bodywork needs to get fixed. And then I'm shaky for the next 2 hours. I just couldn't shake this feeling off me. I don't know if you've watched that movie Final Destination, where the people almost get killed, but they end up getting killed because your fate is to get killed and you skirted it. I had that feeling. I just couldn't shake that. Like, was I supposed to get run over? Was I supposed to get smashed? Was the truck supposed to roll down the hill even more and like take people out? 3 inches over, it would have got into the EDU that someone lives in. Like, what would that damage have looked like? 5 inches the other way, it would have smashed into the gate of my building and caused a whole nightmare there. So I'm looking at like, I got to be grateful for the amount of damage that actually happened here. And, the old me would have flipped. I would have just been angry, pissed off, not knowing what to do. Yelling at the guy, like, what? Like, I would have just lost it. I would have just been bananas. I have no idea. Suing this, who knows? I would have thrown the whole book at him. But the new me, I just took a moment. Let me not react. And I just sat in it, sat in that angst and that anxiety and that stress and that pressure. And like, I didn't know what to feel. So I just let it go through me. And then realizing like, wow, this was a freak accident. It wasn't his fault necessarily. I couldn't have done anything else in that moment. It was just a freak accident, and it happened. And we start, processing and analyzing this. The tow truck driver took care of everything, towed the car there, towed it to get the shop, everything got fixed. And in that moment, I'm just like, I'm gonna trust in him that he's gonna do right by me. He's going to do right by the truck. He's going to do right by his business. He's like, I'm going to handle it. Let me handle it outside insurance. If you want to go to insurance, you could do that too. It's up to you. But I promise I will take care of it. And I just trusted in that. I just met the guy, right? He was referred by another guy. So that was the only connection I had to him. But this is a moment where it was raining. It was raining a lot that day. And I looked for a rainbow, right? And it got really dark. And I looked for a star. And I trusted. And I chose love. And I chose to walk the walk and walk the path. And I allowed the universe to come in and God to come in and have it all answered and taken care of. And I'm sharing this because, it might not seem like a big problem, but in the wake of everything that's been going on, this is a lot of more money, just thousands of dollars. I'm out of car for another few weeks. Sharing a car can get tough when we're all over the place. Wife does real estate. She's got to drive around. I got to drive to meetings, things happen. So it was just a moment and like, let me surrender to this. Let me trust the process. There's a lesson here. Whatever this lesson is that's coming, Let me lean into it. I'm going to segue to the transmission shop now. We get the truck there. He's like, wow, make sure I didn't cause the damage. I'm like, dude, the truck got crashed on the way there. Don't worry about it. He's like, cool. And he slated it to get fixed quick because he knew it was my daily driver and he knew I didn't have a car at the time. And he got it fixed, throws it up on the rack, takes the transmission apart, calls me back. Yeah, so the whole thing's blown. And I'm like, well, why? Like, this is supposed to, be modified to handle the truck. This is all brand new, professionally installed. It wasn't my builder that did anything. He's like, well, you have a stock transmission. We have an LS conversion with a header, with a cam, pushing almost 500 horsepower. You don't put a stock transmission on that. So we start unpacking that, and we got. The person that sold us this kit sold us a faulty transmission that was going to melt and wasn't going to perform. So there's an extra $3,000 right there. So again, more money out the door, we can make more money. More things to get mad at. I could track this guy down, try to Beto Business Bureau him, sue him, do all kinds of things, ruin his reputation, whatever the case is. Guess what? My builder looked him up. He's out of business. He's probably done this multiple times. His own karma got him. I didn't have to do anything about it. Do I still think I'd love my $3,000 back plus the $3,000 I gave him? Yes, but besides the point. The good news is the truck's new transmission, it's epic. She runs like she's supposed to run. She's chirping. She's moving. The power's hitting the wheels. So I guess that's the silver lining. Like, now it's running great. I found a great transmission guy. He's going to do the rear end. She's going to run even better. So the lesson here is, like, the old me would definitely react and sue. The old me comes from that experience, take him to court, get a lawyer involved, get these things involved. The world is pretty litigious. I don't like going to that place, and it's not worth the energy and the expenses that goes into that and the angst on your body. But if what I did was lean into those emotions, I let the emotions play through me and I shook it off. And I'm not dwelling in like, well, what if I did this or what? No, truck runs great now. I trusted the guy. He fixed it. It was kind of a wait and see. Sometimes it's like, well, we'll see. Maybe if we go more with the attitude of we'll see. Someone says they're going to do something. We'll see. Something's going to happen. We'll see. That way you're not expecting something to have a massive hangover, but you're also carefree enough in the situation so that if it does come back on the bad side, you're not going to get all hopped up and bothered and go down that path because you were already open to, like, let's see what happens. There's a reason for everything, and we'll go from there. So those are two examples of things that happened. They didn't happen to me. It's part of life. Things that we experienced, that I experienced, in the early part of the year. There's a couple other things, but, I also want to sandwich this with the good, right? Because what everyone usually sees are the big wins, right? The amazing project with the NFL, the BMW partnership, a new sculpture going up, whatever the case is, but we had some wins. So in between that, we launched the Love Bottle with Tequila Mandala. We had an amazing launch event with some amazing people there and had an amazing time tasting what love tastes like. Right? This was sandwiched right in between all of that. So, there's a lot of wins always happening. We got to realize that life is happening on all scales all the time. Some people are like, oh, it's Mr. Love. Oh, it's the love guy. Oh, your life is perfect. And I don't curate what I show. I put it all out there and it's all in stories. We're pretty open with what is showing. But sometimes the big wins are what actually outshines everything else. And it's also just being careful because I'm not complaining or ungrateful. If I post a photo of my crashed truck, oh, hey, this happened today. I think it's cooler that I get to share it this way and just be vulnerable in this episode. It's not me reading a list of 7 things to do to be a better person. No, it's like, hey, this happened to me. This is how I'm applying practice and how I'm doing it. So we launched this amazing tequila project. Let me change that. We launched this amazing tequila collaboration. I did have another project that was supposed to launch March, then April, then May, and now got pushed again. So that's another thing where you're like, oh man, you wanted to put it out there and showcase it, but I completed a 15-foot love sculpture. It arrived in Charleston. That's going to be unveiling in a couple of weeks. So there's a lot of wins in between, a lot of losses. And they're not really losses, there's lessons. What can we learn for the things that are happening for us? Right? That truck thing could have happened to me. It did happen to me, but it happened for me. I needed to know that. Whatever I was attached to, or whatever the lesson there was, which I believe was really just responding and not reacting, right? Walking the walk. I had to walk the walk. I had to surrender and I had to trust. The lesson in the trip back from Mexico in the middle of a cartel war, just to remember that life is finite. Enjoy it all. Like, my kid is 2 now. You know, where did those 2 years go? He talks, he runs, he plays, and like, before you know it, he's going to be 18. So I'm just more present in that. Like, be here now, live now. The show, we're at episode 60 something by the time this drops. Like, being able to talk to these amazing people that say yes to come on my show, to let me ask them questions and to hold space. Like, just like the honor and responsibility of painting a public mural, just holding space for someone to share in a chair. That is super cool. And thank you for tuning in. Like, you're helping us grow. You're helping us share this message of love. You're helping us create a culture of love. And notice I keep saying us. It's not me. Yes, I'm part of it, but I'm not saying you're helping me. You're helping us because it's part of the whole. All of us can do this, you know? All of us need to listen to it. All of us need to show up in the world. All of us get to do the things that amplify a culture of love and choosing love and putting that lens forward. There's too much fear in the world, right? Let's keep showing up. Let's keep choosing love. And remember to live through love. Thank you so much for tuning in to Live Through Love. If you love this episode, you'll love this episode.